Hi, and welcome to Sweet Bee. This is our live stream series where we highlight artists in and around our area. I'm Mike Bennett, and we're here at Professor B Studios in downtown Winston-Salem. And I have the absolute honor tonight to sit down with who is quickly becoming one of my favorite artists in the area, especially after recently catching a live show of his where he threw some very interesting covers out onto the floor, which unfortunately, because we highlight originals, we don't get to hear tonight. But if you ever have the opportunity to request something, throw a little Gnarls Barkley his way and just watch and see what he does. Please help me welcome to the show, Elliot Humphries. Elliot,
hey,
thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
It's an honor.
I don't know if it's an honor. Honor is a very
It is
strong
to me.
word.
It doesn't have to be to you.
It's all good. I just appreciate you having me,
Sure.
honestly.
So, quick little bit of background and setup. You first got on my radar at one of the Friday night music things that gets put on here around Winston-Salem, where you jumped up during a Couldn't Be Happier set and absolutely threw down.
It was the thing that Doug Davis put together
Yes.
at Wise
And it was like
Man.
not a '90s night. It was it was a decade or
It was
artist series.
it was I can't remember honestly. And it was 80. It was the 80s.
80s, yes.
It was acoustic. It was an acoustic night. It was all 80s, and I remember specifically doing a Tears for Fears tune.
Yes.
I remember that was a crazy night because everything was like unrehearsed.
Right.
And I'm not actually from Winston, nor do I reside in Winston.
Sure.
So I was kind of meeting everybody literally on stage
Oh,
for
wow.
the first time.
So
And
did you already know Jordan and Jody?
I had vaguely.
Okay.
It was like as far as like the band, other than Doug
Yeah.
and Corky.
Okay.
Like I had met them because I had done a Radiohead show with them.
Nice.
When the garage was still open.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was kind of just like, I don't really know what's going on right now.
What didn't come across that way, and when you jumped up with them during that stuff, and I think it was either right before or right after Jody launched into like a Madonna thing, and she was dressed the part and everything. It got crazy in a really good way.
I was off stage by then. I think I did.
I think it was before that.
I don't know.
Or you went before that happened.
Yeah, I don't
But anyways,
remember.
at some point, all three of you ended up off stage, and Jordan turned around and went, "You need to meet this guy," and that's where it started.
Gotcha.
So that was kind of where the On the Radar started. And so I listening and I'm looking and I'm paying attention to some shows and stuff like that, but just calendars and geography don't always work out.
Right.
So it wasn't until just this past week that I was actually able to come and sit down for any length and watch part of a show.
Yeah.
And so it's you at Foothills
By
throwing down
myself.
covers and interweaving these, like, it's an original and then it's cover, and if you don't say one way or the other, like, because of and I'm gonna blow a little smoke, but it's not smoke because it's truth, because of the quality, you couldn't always tell if you didn't say unless it was a super recognizable tune, because one was at the level of the other. As I'm sitting there and I'm watching, and I'm really there because I told you, like, I'm just gonna show up and try out a new camera and check you out before I have you on the show. But I forgot I was there to try out the new camera. And it was poorly lit in the corner of a room.
Yeah.
I personally don't think you were loud enough.
Well.
And it was just good.
Thanks, man.
So I'm excited to get into how do you get from, and this is where I've already talked too much, but you're probably going to fill up the rest of the time just answering this question.
Go for it.
How do you get from a semi-awkward high school jazz bass player who at some point randomly falls in love with Steely Dan to playing music full-time as a singer, songwriter, cover artist with you, a trio, and a full band in and around not just this area, but if I understand it correctly, state?
Yeah, I run. Well, it depends. That's
all of it.
Yeah. There's a really long answer to that. I will keep it as brief as I can.
Yes.
It was I've always loved, like from a very early age, like I've always loved music. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of reasons, like music was always kind of a stabilizing force through my childhood.
Sure.
And so it was just kind of, and it was always around, like my dad had when my mom, my he's my stepdad, but I call him Dad.
Yeah.
When they met, he had a really, really extensive record collection. There was just a lot of stuff to choose from, and I was, when I was a kid, I was really awkward, and there wasn't, there was just a lot of time at home, and I had time to kind of just sit down and kind of take all that stuff in, and I found, there's everything from it was Black Sabbath to, to Bach to,
right,
and everything in between. There was just all the stuff was there. And when probably when I was about 12 or 13, like CDs really started to come online. Like you could get them; they were readily available. They were expensive, but they were readily available. And
then we're going to age ourselves here, but yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, and so it was that became the medium that was around the house, and so I spent a lot of time just with a pair of stereo headphones in front of a stereo, listening to rock and roll.
Yeah.
And then
and this is in the days of component systems and
this is
disc carousels,
disc carousel CD changers and all that. Like it wasn't like on your phone. There were no cell phones back then. Like that technology didn't exist. And so I'd always I started playing guitar when I was 11. And was teaching myself. I joined my high school jazz band, ended up playing bass for about 3 years.
Why jazz band?
Why jazz band?
I ask as someone who also joined the high school jazz band. It was a class.
Okay. During like the curriculum school day, there was no like requirement for after school stuff.
Yeah.
And they took me. Like it was that. There was no like grand design. It was just like they needed someone to play. I wanted to play guitar. They needed someone to play bass. So I got thrown into the bass slot, and it ended up being that ended up becoming the foundation for how I make a living now. Going from all of that to doing what I do for a living now is also a really long story, but. Just something that I really wanted to do, and just refused to stop, to kind of give up on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I have no illusions of like stardom or like fame as a concept. Like I'm 41. Like I don't think about that. Like I think fame and success are two different things.
Agreed, completely.
And like I count myself as successful today. Like, am I ever going to be famous? No. Do I ever want to be famous? Not necessarily.
Right.
Like,
so where do you strike the balance there as you're kind of thinking through that? And if we have time, I want to kind of circle back to the Steely Dan thing a little bit. But
sure.
Where do you strike the balance there between performer and writer? Because I think it kind of, that success and fame thing balances differently in those two worlds, and you do both.
Yeah. Fame. Performer and writer, in my mind, they're kind of the same thing. Like I don't do one without the other. I kick the tires on a lot of songs live anyway.
Okay,
so
that makes sense.
So it's like it kind of blurs the line of like, I'm wearing the writer hat right now, or I'm wearing the performer hat right now. There are definitely two different skill sets.
Right.
But for me, they kind of bleed together. Like I've written tunes on the fly, like at gigs, just been when you're playing to an empty room and like you got nothing better to do. Well, I got these lyrics, and the bartender's probably not going to care. So you just do it. Like I don't necessarily see them as two separate things. Like so, there's kind of two sides of the same coin.
And I guess I meant more along the lines of how the measurement of success and fame, because you talk about being
famous and being
successful, and I feel like with the performance side of things, one may follow, like success can follow fame a little bit, but with writing, you can be extremely successful and never see famous.
Never see famous.
And I just and I think having the blend of the two as a lifestyle kind of maybe strikes a little bit of that. And I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No. It's not. I think, and two, I think it's really, really difficult in the current environment in music to have one without the other.
Okay.
It's a very, very it's a very fluid time. I hesitate to call it difficult.
Sure.
It's difficult for those of us in this business that are still trying to do music according to the old business model.
Okay.
But there's still plenty of great music getting made, and you have to have performance on some level along with the writing. You can't, you're no longer able to separate the two.
Sure.
So there's just not the systems in place like there were 10, 15, 20 years ago, where it was like, well, I can be a stable writer. Like you used to be able to go to New York, used to be able to go to Nashville, used to be able to go to LA, and I'm gonna write.
This is what I do.
I write songs and we can go back, the Brill Building writers and all this that kind of thing, or you can go back and look at the Music Row guys,
which is funny because if you go back far enough, it circles back to what you're talking about now, where the people who were writing the songs were playing their songs. They were composers.
They were composers, exactly.
Performed their pieces.
And it's funny you bring that up, because the industry itself is now, the way I see it, and is that it's circled back around. We went through this whole really long cycle in the business of, you went from 45s, right? Everybody was buying 45s,
right.
and then everybody wanted to buy the 33 and the LP, and then that went to cassette, and then that went to CD. But the concept was like the full album, or the full collection of songs in whatever format we were talking about. And now we've circled. Now that we've hit peak digital, everything's come back around to where it's just about the single that you have. So in a way, it's all moved full circle back around.
That's an interesting.
The difference now is, the way I see it.
Perspective is powerful. Go ahead.
The difference I see now is that in the age of the 45, right, there was a company or some kind of entity, a business entity, whose job it was to get that out to people, be that via radio or whatever that distribution process was. If that was in the store. Now that doesn't; those systems don't exist essentially. So the whole network of the major label, the big seven, it all collapsed. It's gone.
Wow.
And so you got indie labels, and you got some labels who were able to do some things, but even radio doesn't have the influence that it had. I was just listening on the way up here. I was just listening to NPR on the way up here, and they were talking about how the new A&R people are music producers for television shows. That's where everybody wants to get their stuff plugged.
Everybody's working on placements and all that kind of stuff.
And because that's where the paychecks are coming from, right?
That's
wild. So it's a whole different landscape. So for a guy like me, how am I going to make a living? Well, I can either try and get my songs on a television show or in a commercial placement or in a movie, or I can go out and play gigs. And so that's why I say in my mind, the two.
I got you.
It's like, where's the balance? I don't think there is a balance anymore. I think the job is one and the same now. I think it's really, really difficult for those people that are I just want to be a writer and I don't want to be a performer. I'm not quite sure how you get there and expect to make any kind of living. I'm sure somebody has figured that out. I'm just saying, I'm not sure I haven't figured that out. This is the way that works for me.
Man, and there's some things in there that I know I didn't realize, but I hadn't really thought through to think about in the industry. So that's pretty. It's sit on that for a little while.
The whole thing is
a little disturbing, but also kind of fascinating.
It's
if that makes sense.
Disturbing.
It's a little bit of both.
Disturbing, I think, is kind of a harsh word.
Well, for me. Because I'm not in it doing it as someone associated with the world,
right?
But also as a consumer,
Yeah. and it's really difficult
because you hear some of the horror stories,
Oh,
but
God.
like you don't realize that it's an entire industry shift. It just feels like those are I guess those are just the ones you have to hear
and
about.
it's difficult for people, the consumer, for looking at it from that side. And I hate to turn this into an industry thing, but like it's difficult.
We haven't had this conversation on the show, so I'm loving this.
Yeah,
This is
it's difficult.
unique content.
It's difficult for the consumer that I've experienced for them to, because in a lot of cases, there's a perception that as a writer and as a performer that like, oh, if your song is on Spotify, that's the same thing as having a record out, and it's like it doesn't.
Right.
The whole pay scale, it doesn't. None of it works.
Right.
None of it works the same.
Yeah.
Like from our side of it, from my side of it, like I'm essentially releasing content for zero return on that content. Right. There's no way for me to monetize that. The only way that I can monetize my music that I've found effectively and consistently is performance. Wow. And so it's the same thing. The other thing that we're having, that I'm experiencing, and that some of my I guess people that do this for a living, friends of mine are experiencing, is that you have things like ASCAP, BMI, and like the lawyers guilds that were there traditionally to go after people that were trying to hawk your music.
Right.
Now they don't. Your content, there's no money to be made in that because your content is free anyway. Yeah. So they're going after venues. They're going after venues.
Been down that road.
And so now they're trying to stay in business.
Yeah.
But it's cutting our throats because you're essentially taxing the places.
Yeah, and there's places you can't play if they're not carrying the right licensure, or you have to try to carry it, which is
even if
ridiculous.
I'm a card carrying ASCAP member.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter if I carry my license. That makes no difference. The venue is a totally different thing.
Really?
So you've got venues who are now really, really skeptical about like, am I going to get sued?
Right.
Am I going to get something thrown at me? And it makes it difficult for men and women like myself that are like, hey man, we just need to come make money. Like we want to come entertain. We're out here trying to get the bills paid. And I get on their side of it, like they're nervous because like if I get hit with a $10,000 lawsuit because I didn't pay this fee for my 50-person bar, like it's hard. So it's just.
I mean, some places they'll close you down.
They will close you down in a minute.
Yeah.
And so a lot of colleagues have gone to like solely online. There's a whole there's a whole I'm just going to do YouTube, and I'm going to ask for, do a link at the bottom for PayPal, and like ask for tips, and that's what I'm going to, and that's fine.
And if you're looking for a place no, I'm just kidding.
I just think that there's something.
It's a great plug. Thank you for that.
There's something magic to me though about like the actual performance in front of a crowd.
Oh, there's the synergy can't be replicated online.
Ever.
You just can't.
Ever. Like I don't.
It's a whole different. Not that you can't accurately represent a performance. Not that you can't capture a moment, but capturing a moment and experiencing that moment are two very different things. And the synergy of a room going on the ride with you.
There's nothing. There's nothing like. I don't consider myself a creator of music first and foremost. I'm a consumer of music first.
Okay.
I was always that 12, 13-year-old kid that was hearing, whatever, if it was, Don't Take Me Alive by Steely Dan, or it was hearing those.
We can't go too far down that rabbit hole because I know where we're going. We're already out of time, but we're going to finish this.
Those 13, I'm forever that 13-year-old kid that was hearing that record for the first time and was just like, what is this? What planet is it? And wanting to have that, and like wanting to experience that in a group of people, right? Or see that these people do that thing. Like there's a magic to that, and like you really can't replicate that. Like there's it's the spontaneity of it.
Yeah.
It's the never in rock and roll. There's the whole idea of like when it's really going right, when it's really going right, like you as an audience member are not real sure if this is going to fly off the rails at any particular second, but it's exhilarating because it's like why? And when you see men and women that are at the top of their craft too, they're really able to execute, and are able to execute together. I mean,
and when they're willing to take that to the edge,
and
it's
you just can't.
it's another animal.
It's another animal altogether, and I think that we lose. I think we lose something collectively when we lose that. And it worries me for the industry a little bit to think that we've gotten to a place where we're going after venues sometimes, and it's like, man, if we lose this, not only do we lose a vital revenue stream, but like what do we do?
I mean, it's a part of community and culture too.
What do we do? What do we do after that?
There's a whole round table we sit down and have about all of that. And I don't want to cut you, but we need to. We need to flip. Like we were talking about this before the show. I was like, there's no way we end the interview on time. There's no way this show doesn't run long. But I also like, in a moment of talking about the synergy of live music and everything else, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back with some live music here that you're going to watch online. So no, but. Before we go to the break, I do want, with all sincerity, to give you the opportunity to invite people to anything upcoming. Where can they find your schedule online? Where can these people come and experience the thing we're talking about with you in front of a room?
So the places you can go to figure out where I or my band is going to be, are going to be, you can check out on Facebook. We're exclusively on Facebook. Like, there's no need to go to Twitter or just go to Facebook. Look up Be the Moon, BETHEMOON. That's the band. Or you can look up Elliot Humphries, ELLIOTTHUM as in Mary, P as in Paul, HRIES as in Sam. Check out, give a like to those pages. That would be really, really super helpful. And then we actually have a trio, an acoustic show coming up at Castle's Deli on Friday the 13th in lovely King, North Carolina. Show starts at 7 p.m. and we would love for you to be there. It is always a good time, and they have really good sandwiches.
Yeah, I understand. They've got a killer Reuben.
They do have. They
got to get my wife out there to try it. She judges the Reubens.
I'm a Reuben connoisseur, and I can vouch.
Fair enough.
I can vouch.
Well,
it's pretty solid.
We'll have to get her out there too.
Yeah.
Guys, please go find those pages. Throw the Facebook page a like. Bookmark anything you can. Follow them. And do yourself a favor, and I mean, in general, support live stuff, but I mean, we're up here tonight talking about Elliot and his band. Whether it's a solo gig, a trio gig, or a full band, go find them. I promise you'll enjoy it. And you're going to get just a little bit of taste of that on the show next. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with a couple of songs from Elliot Humphries. Thank you so much.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Elliot Humphries, and it's good to be on Professor B Studios. This song is called Cheap. talking about lessons learned and the games we played, but I just heard what you didn't say. Just tell me that he's good to you and that he helps you sleep. Remember that what you sow, you also reap. And talk is cheap. And talk is cheap. And talk is cheap. Baby, talk is cheap. Trying to make sense of what you're saying, but I don't know what for. 'Cause darling, it's awful hard to ignore. When it just goes to show you that you just can't tell. One day you're walking on water, the next day burning hell. And just tell me that he's good to you and that he helps you sleep. Remember that what you sow, you also reap. And talk is cheap. And talk is cheap. And talk is cheap. Baby, talk is cheap. Struggle lingers, it just hangs in the air. And no one seems to notice it, and no one seems to care. Cause talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. Baby, talk is cheap. Thanks. Appreciate it. This next song is it's called Pretend. I wrote this song while watching daytime television. Don't judge me. I've been trying to learn a Keith Whitley tune some weeks before I wrote this song. And could not get my voice to do exactly what Keith's voice could do. And there was a good reason for that, because Keith was a very, very talented vocalist. And for those of you that don't know, Keith Whitley was a country music singer in the 80s. I had to give up on the tune because I couldn't get my voice to bend the note just right, that climax note just right. And a few weeks later, I was watching TV, and this next song came to me. And it's my level best attempt at writing something that I think Keith Whitley would have written. The song's called Pretend. Well, I know what's happening here. I see the writing on the wall. I see your taxi waiting outside. I see your bags in the hall. I just sit here at the table. Won't try to stop you this time. I can tell by the look in your eye that you've made up your mind. I know that you're gone. I know it's the end. When you walk out I won't see you again. Well, I know that you're gone. I know lands is sin. The truth hurts too bad, baby. So can we just pretend? Can you do me one favor? Just one thing before you go. Look me in the eye and tell me what I already know. Well, I don't think you can do it. You just can't face it that way. So let the silence wash over us, 'cause we got nothing to say. I know that you're gone. I know it's the end. When you walk out that door, I won't see you again. Well, I know that you're gone. I know lands is sin. But the truth hurts too bad, baby. So can we just pretend? Now please don't tell me that it'll all be fine. And please don't tell me that all I need is time. And please don't tell me that it's better all this way. Baby, I guess there's nothing left to say. I know that you're gone. I know it's the end. When you walk out that door, I won't see you again. Well, I know that you're gone. I know lands is sin. But the truth hurts too bad, baby. So can we just pretend? But the truth hurts too bad, baby. So can we just pretend? Hey, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, didn't expect anything different. So thank you so much for doing this, first of all.
Thanks.
One more time, where can everybody find you?
One more time, you can find me on Facebook at Elliot Humphries Music or at Be the Moon Band. Just go to Facebook, look up Be the Moon or Elliot Humphries, and you'll find me and the rest of the guys. And we're also, again, we're playing on the 13th at Castle's Deli to be an acoustic trio show. Come on out, have fun with us. It's gonna be a good time.
We had two questions that I actually want to get on the show.
Okay.
Number one, do you have anything streaming anywhere where people can find you?
Oh man.
If I'm not mistaken, I think you've got a single on Spotify.
Yeah, I've got a single called "What You Can't Replace." It's on Spotify and it's on YouTube as well. It's also, I think it's on Amazon Music. And
Okay.
Google Play and those kinds of places.
And then question number two.
And you can also, my band also
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
My band also has a record out called Golden Age, and you can find that on Spotify and YouTube as well. So Amazon, Google Play, all those places.
And then question number two, fans of the show who are also fans of Rubens want to know the top 3 places to get a Reuben.
Oh man, like top 3 places to get a Reuben
In the general area.
in the general area. Castles is good, man. Castles has got a good Reuben. Let's see, best Reubens. Believe it or not, man, you can get a really good Reuben at Mayberry's in Greensboro.
Okay. You got one more?
And Probably the Farmhouse Cafe in Wendell.
All right, there's your three. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Please go check this guy, his trio, and his full band out. We'll be back with another show in a couple weeks. Have a great night. Thanks again, dude.
Thanks, man.
It was so good.
Thank you.